And then obviously when it starts getting the reviews and ends up being like NME's best album of 2005, is that quite a satisfying feeling, or at that time you kind of like in the whirlwind of it all?
Um, it was a bit unnerving, and I think there was also some controversy because I think I bel it's my understanding actually that Arcade Fire was going to be awarded Album of the Year, and at the last minute that decision was pulled. I think someone on editorial like changed it, and I think maybe wanted a British band to be Album of the Year or something. But we don't know what. I actually don't know what happened, but like I understand that was how that was meant to play out. So, like, and there were just definitely some rumblings of discontent around the band. I think a few people were annoyed that had actually happened. And yeah, that kind of soured the whatever idea of achievement that could have possibly have been for me. And yeah, it was nice to have the plaudits and to have the attention and to be somewhat acclaimed at the time. But I was kind of like, yeah, you know, we're just we're just the band at the end of the day. We've got to go back and do this again now. So who cares if like we're out in the year or whatever? We already did everything we set out to do this year.
And it's interesting you mentioned Bloc Party because I spoke to Matt Tong yesterday.
Oh wow, how
Uh,
is he?
yeah, yeah, he's good, yeah. And he brought up a thing about album of the year in 2005. Is that something you'd have been overseeing?
Yeah, that was me. That was me.
Because he reckons there was a bit of a controversy over. He
Right.
thinks.
Go on, you tell me what Matt thinks, and I'll tell you the truth because I was there. Go on.
Well, Block Party won the best album of 2005, but he said the shine was taken off it because it came out that Arcade Fire was supposed to win it, but like last minute someone made that switch to Block Party because they wanted it to be someone British.
No,
Is that
right. So
is
that's
that true?
bullshit. No. Right. This is what happened, and this is for God's honest truth. There was the freelancers were polled and were asked what their albums of the year was, and that list was put together, and then um, the advertising department came in and said, "Okay, we're looking for advertising. Can you give us an idea of what's going to be in the end of year poll?" And so it was sent over to the advertising department. This is kind of like the state of play, but there was no staffers in that list who'd voted at that point. Uh, and if memory serves, I think Arcade Fire might be number one for freelancers, and Block Party were number two. And so somebody obviously decided that this was kind of big news, but the poll was being bent. But it wasn't being bent, it was just wasn't finished. And so, I wish it I wish there was a panorama program about it and a great uncovering of this terrible thing had happened, but it's much more mundane than that. It was unfinished, and it was kind of who can we phone up to get advertising for the back page. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
I feel sorry for Matt Tom because obviously that kind of thing is not fair because they legitimately earned that.
And then one last story before the break. Then Connor, Anthony Thornton and Matt Tong had their say on it. Block Party winning album of the year in 2005, but Matt Tong said it was tainted because there was a heavy rumor that Arcade Fire was supposed to win. According to Anthony, that was because the sponsors were after a list really early and they hadn't got all the votes in. Do you have any recollection of this?
Yeah, I have a lot of recollection of this. It was a fairly vivid moment. Yeah, it was a prick in the fucking advertising department, and it's like those guys. It was IPC, right? They used to call it the Ministry of Magazines, and those guys, most of them that were selling on NME, speaking to the big media houses. They were just jobbing magazine advertising salespeople, right? They had no affinity. There were some who really keyed into it and, really cared about what was going on, but most of them didn't, right? It's just a job to them. And one of them, as I recall it, there was a guy who was really fucking pushy, and he'd come to me and said, look, if I'm going to go off and start selling some advertising, you need to give me a heads up as to where things are going so that I know who to speak to. Can you share a kind of like an interim voting list with us so I can see how things are going? And it's like, yeah, okay, as long as you don't share it with anybody, right? And what did he do? He went off and emailed it to a load of people because he had no idea the ramifications of doing this. He emailed this interim voting list to a whole load of people going, you should really book some advertising because, this thing is doing this. And it's like, what the fuck? And stuff changed right up until the last minute. That was one of the struggles with the NME Awards was, trying to, where's the cutoff point? But, it's how great an album is Silent Alarm. I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I've no problem with that at all.
And when you won it, Jamie, if a rumour came out about someone else maybe supposed to be winning it, would it bother you?
No, I don't know. No, not at all. I don't think so. We take everything on the chin. I mean, winning something, it definitely meant something. It's huge. It's a really, really big deal. But no, there's never any sort of grievance if it went to somebody else. I mean, like we won awards, we didn't win awards. It didn't matter. It was always a surprise. Like winning something didn't feel like our right to win something. It was just really lovely when it happened. Like, I felt we weren't particularly competitive. I don't think we were more sort of like everyone's mate rather than like being competitive with people and being worried that somebody else is going to win something. No, I don't think so. We were just grateful for everything that went on and just like surprised by everything and just bang up for it. But I do think we were the better band that deserved it.